There will always be something that is relevant, including the idea that nothing being relevant might be relevant for that particular person, although that would be rare. The idea of experiencing a parallel reality where nothing at first appears relevant can simply be a resting point for a person where they don't necessarily have to focus on anything in particular, but that wouldn't last that long. It may give them a break, a breathing space, as you say, but then relatively quickly, the relevance would come back in. Remember that you're shifting billions of times per second. You don't rest in any one particular parallel reality. And therefore, the idea of a string of parallel realities where nothing is relevant at all or nothing appears to be relevant at all would still be the product of shifting billions of times through different parallel realities, each of which doesn't necessarily present relevance to you. But that would quickly change because the whole idea is to experience what is relevant for you to be able to move through the process that is necessary for you to change and grow and discover new ideas and new experiences and new aspects of your being.
Thank you. This person is saying, sometimes it's not clear which choice is the most exciting to me when I'm following the formula. I define the possible choices as parallel realities, and I ask myself, which parallel reality do I prefer? This seems to help me see the choices in a more expansive way that includes the corresponding past and future that goes along with each parallel reality, and helps me discern the choice that I prefer. I'd love to hear anything you have to add to this way of viewing our possible choices moment to moment. Thank you.
If that is the way that works for you, then that is your permission slip. That's the way that you believe you'll be able to have clearer discernment about which path to take. And as we said, if both really still continue to seem equal, you might as well flip a coin. That could reveal which path is more exciting, more relevant for you. But again, even if that doesn't work and both or more than two seem relevant, are they equally actable is the next question. If they are also not only equally exciting and equally actable, then again, remember that the tool of synchronicity will come into play so that whatever path you do choose to go down, it really won't matter because synchronicity will turn you around through situations and circumstances that will arise to turn you around to the path that is more relevant for you at that time. So it really doesn't matter which you choose to act on first if all things seem to be equal. Synchronicity will bring you to the path that is important for you at that moment. But if that is the methodology that you prefer to use in terms of thinking of the choices as whole parallel reality time streams, then stick with it if that's what's working for you. It's fine as a permission slip.
Okay. Can you provide an idea of a permission slip for choosing the parallel reality we prefer? Is that what you just answered? How can we see the ones closer to us vibrationally to choose the best one?
Again, it is what we just answered, but at the same time, the bottom line answer, as you say, is follow the formula. That's, again, why we give it to you all. There are many questions that ask about things that the formula is the answer for. It is very important for all of you to have a deep understanding of the formula, to understand it as the instruction manual, to understand that that's how you're creating your reality anyway, to understand that while you are shifting billions of times per second, the formula is the navigation tool. It is what is bringing you closer and closer and closer to the vibratory version of Earth that is closest to the reality that represents your core vibration. It leaves nothing important out. It is very crucial to understand how the formula works, to have a deeper and more precise understanding of it, because it is often the answer to many of these individuated questions that seem to be different questions, but again, are really all the same question from a different point of view, and thus all have the same answer. Understand clearly and follow and act on the formula.
All right, and this person would like to know what they have to do to move to a parallel universe.
You're moving
And
to parallel universes all the time. Again, billions of times per second. Again, it is important to understand how things actually work. You're constantly shifting into a new universe, a new parallel reality. And thus, again, by following the formula, you will navigate yourself through all of these shifts in the direction and constantly continue to experience different versions, different universes, different parallel reality versions of Earth that are constantly more and more and more in alignment with your core true vibration.
so what happens to the me in the previous parallel universe?
It isn't you. The idea is that's another person experiencing whatever it is they're experiencing. But again, you're talking about a timeline. Remember, the idea of parallel realities really are like static frames, static photos. So the idea is there is no real experience in any of those things except by the idea of the greater being, the greater self, the more expanded non-physical version of the consciousness that you are, choosing to experience all of these things simultaneously. Therefore, it's only from your linear space-time perspective that you appear to be shifting. From the higher point of view and the higher being that you are, you're experiencing all these things at once. There is no shifting per se. All of these parallel realities are experienced by the greater you all at the same time. So the question that you're asking is only from the linear space-time that would seem to be leaving a version of yourself behind, but it doesn't really leave a version of yourself behind. That's another expression of the greater you being experienced simultaneously by the greater you. You're all going on at the same time. The shifting is only experienced from the linear space-time reality.
So the fact that all of these frames are static and that the difference in terms of the story that gets created by shifting through those static parallel reality frames is that as long as your frequency is in the correct state by following the formula and being more and more aligned to your true self, that becomes the automatic navigational tool that will take you into the story that is representative of your higher frequency.
Yes, it's as simple as that.
That's what's so simple about it, is that once you get the knack at being your true self or being that frequency, that higher frequency, you can rely on it to bring you the things that are going to continue that higher state and
Yes.
give you a good story in a sense.
Give you the story that is relevant for the personality framework that you have created for this theme of exploration. All the things that are relevant for you. All the things that allow you to experience your true vibration, your essential self. Yes.
So that's why it all works, because they're all static frames and you're the guiding mechanism that determines which frames you experience.
From the linear perspective, yes. From the higher perspective, you're experiencing all of them anyway.
All right. So
It is the physical perspective, the space-time linear perspective that allows you to individuate the frames, to experience them as a particular point of view, as a particular person. From the higher level, from the non-physical spirit level, you're experiencing all of them if you wish to. So it is the physical reality that allows you to experience the idea of the frames one at a time, one apparently after another, to give you the sense of linear change, of movement, of story. Yes.
yeah, because I guess if we chose to incarnate onto Earth and be a physical being, knowing how to navigate this reality really makes a big difference in terms of whether or not you enjoy your time here.
Yes, whether or not the story is truly representative of who you are. Physical space-time is for the purpose of experiencing a story. Your story. This story as this person.
That's your potential. And that's what the formula allows you to do, is move closer and closer to that potential experience.
That story that is you. Yes. To tell the story, to experience the story, to live the story that is uniquely this personality, this particular perspective. Personality is perspective. This perspective, a unique perspective, a unique story. You are a story as a physical being. You are a story, a linear story.
Your purpose is to be yourself as fully as you can, but you're also participating in the hybridization agenda for the benefit of the evolution of the human race. So the idea of the hybrid children that you have, yes, we can't tell you exactly how many because genetic material is spread among many thousands of them. But the idea is that you're helping with the evolution of the human race to move toward becoming the sixth hybrid race as part of the evolutionary path of humanity. But your own purpose is your own in terms of following your passion and being who you are to benefit and be of service to humanity by expressing your gifts to them and sharing your gifts, whatever they may be, by acting on your passion. That's your purpose in life. Be yourself as fully as you possibly can. Enjoy your life. Be the shining and living example of someone who is living their life to the fullest so that others can see in you an example of something they may choose for themselves as well.
Bashar,
Good day.
good day. Great to speak with you again.
And you as well. What would you like to discuss this day?
First off, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what you know about the She and where they come from and what their story is.
Well, they're, again, part of the interdimensional elemental groups that exist in between, so to speak, in a slightly more refined version of physical reality that's connected to Earth, overlapping into the lower levels of the astral realm so they can come and go and present themselves as they need to humans when and where it seems appropriate to them to do so. They are strongly connected to the idea of shape-shifting energy that is available to all beings on Earth should you attempt to connect to that particular level to help you understand how you shift all the time from reality to reality. They're very representative of the idea of the realms of magic, so to speak, the idea of, again, attuning to different reality, parallel realities, and allowing yourself to sort of shape shift into them to represent whatever degree of that reality you need to represent your path in life. So the She are very good as representatives of the go-betweens, the interdimensionalization of your awareness to become more than you think yourselves to be, to become more magical in your experience of life, to experience more synchronicities, to be presented with the idea of curiosity and clues and puzzles that allow you to solve your own internal sort of questions and follow the paths that lead to your own discovery of internal treasures.
Lovely. And is there an extraterrestrial history to the She?
Well, only in the sense that they can commune with those beings from other places. They themselves are not extraterrestrial. They're very anchored to the Earth, but again, in a multidimensional way. But anything that allows itself to experience its own multidimensionality will, by definition, overlap into the ability to communicate with extra-dimensional and extraterrestrial and even spirit beings.
Lovely. Okay, thank you. And the crystal skull, the one that found itself in Ireland, at the time that it found itself arriving to Ireland, what are some of the things that might have happened around that time? What was the society like, and how might they have interfaced with the crystal skull or reacted to it, or what was going on around that time?
A lot. Well, it's mostly the idea of what you consider to be the Druidic times, the ancient Celts. But the idea is that a lot of the information that was derived from the crystal skulls is what allowed things like Stonehenge and other kinds of dolmens to be built at the time. So the understanding of those things had been locked into the crystal skulls and was extracted by druidic priests from the crystal skulls and ancient Atlanteans to help build those things that would help orient you in the future.
Hmm. And would it have been something that would have been kept private and very, or would a lot of people have known about this?
Well, a lot of people may have known, but the practice was mostly kept in what would be considered to be the priesthoods.
Yeah. Okay. And would it have been in contrast to general society at the time, the way things are at the moment, in a sense?
Well, to some degree, yes. I mean, again, it is a special practice to have been a druidic priest, especially from the ancient Atlantean lines. So not everyone was really adept at going in that direction, but some of the information, some of it, was freely shared with the general public, although some of it over time became more symbolized and more ritualized and more separated.
Okay. And does she have interfaced with this crystal skull, or would they have anything to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it still buried somewhere, or is it under care at the moment?
Both. Those that care for it know where it is buried.
Okay.
They can still care for it in their own way because it's all about energetics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And are those carers human?
Well, yes, but they are exhibiting a high level of genetic diversity in terms of the idea that all humans are hybridized.
Wow, interesting. On planet Earth at the moment, are there readily available devices that allow for microelectrical signals to catalyze healing in the same way as frequency and vibration would?
Yes.
Yeah. And is that just as powerful as sound? I guess it's a permission slip, but
It is.
yeah, okay. I'm having I guess a challenge at the moment. Like, I understand that everything that you've taught taught over the last 10 years I've been listening to you, and it's incredible. It's an incredible, I guess, skill to have, and I find myself these days remembering and forgetting like 1,000 times a day, so I could be, and the forgetting that those grains of sand, as you put it, in the engine, in the more refined engine, they can really bring the day to a halt, and then I can immediately change it, and it's going in and out and in and out, and there's a couple of things that I'm just finding really challenging, and I feel like they're the last couple of things or something. And
all right, that's all right. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Remember, the process is the point.
Exactly. Yeah. I sometimes get worried that though I feel like I'm expanding and things are getting better and I've got more ability to react consciously, the things that are hanging on, I can get worried about them and think, oh God, no, I'm not on track at all. And with the reflection as it is in the world today, with such contrast available to tap into,
just relax and make your choices according to what you feel is correct for you. You always have the opportunity to change your mind. But the idea is you're exploring, and that's all right. You can keep exploring. You don't have to worry about the idea. Just make your choices, see how they feel. You don't feel right about them, make another choice. You always have the power to choose. Just stay in the moment with it, that's all.
Yeah. And you said before, don't look where you don't want to go, and this idea of what you focus on will manifest. And
yes, but don't worry about that either, because even if it does, you're aware enough to know that that is or isn't what you prefer, and to make a different choice. And that's the whole point. As long as you keep checking in with yourself, you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Okay. Great. So this is just a kind of it comes with the territory of becoming more aware of the choices that are possible.
It goes with the territory. Yes.
But the challenge of having those I guess negative options or negative manifestations will go away the more I
The options will never go away. You'll become more aware of them, but you'll be less likely to choose them because they don't feel right. It'd be like going shopping and picking a shirt that is too small and saying, well, you know, this is an option. I could wear this, but if I put this on, it's going to feel too tight. And that's not comfortable for me. So I'll choose something else, a little bit more roomy.
Yeah. Okay. So as we shift more and more into the Earths that we prefer, as we make those kinds of choices, does that mean that those choices that you know that are on our table at the moment in terms of just the contrast available, does that mean that they'll still be part of this Earth experience, and I'll still see them, but I'll need to make choices?
It can be that, and at first it will be that, because again, it's giving you the opportunity to really anchor into what your true choices are by constantly giving you the choices that are not by comparison, so that you can really decide which way to go. So you can see by contrast what you truly do prefer and don't prefer in a non-judgmental way. Just see what doesn't fit. So yes, for a while, you'll be even more aware of the things that you don't prefer. But that's all right to be aware of them, to know they're there. Because again, it gives you more opportunity to not choose them, to see how many ways you can not choose what you don't prefer, as well as seeing more ways to choose what you do. You expand. Remember, that option exists on every single level. You become more aware of what you don't prefer as you expand. But you also become more aware that you don't have to choose them, that they're just not right for you. So it equals out. It balances out.
Yeah. Okay.
It's more easy to recognize what is not you by seeing more of what is not you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't expand.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Bashar. And just one last thing, there doesn't seem to be much ET action in Ireland.
No. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Okay.
You don't have to always be aware of it, but there's a lot. You may become more aware of it in time. You'll see.
Thank you. Lovely.
All right.
Well, that's it. That's great, Bashar. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Aveo.
Aveo. Take care. Bye.